Hi, boys and girls. Today we are doing Chapter 10, Lesson 2, Parts of a Whole. So our learning intention is I am learning to partition shapes into equal parts so that I can understand parts of whole numbers and sets. So let's talk about some vocabulary. So we have two important vocabulary words in this lesson, numerator and denominator. The numerator is the top number in a fraction that names the number of equal parts under consideration. That means if they're asking how many are shaded, how many are not shaded, those are the parts under consideration. The denominator, the bottom, is the bottom number in a fraction that names all of the equal parts. So I have a little diagram here for you to help you remember. It's a little blurry because I made it so big. Okay, so the numerator is the number of parts we have. That's the top number. And the denominator is the total parts in the whole, or the total parts in the set. So those are two very important vocabulary words, and I'm going to use them all the time. I'm going to use them more than top number and bottom number. Okay, so here are the 3 pages that we're going to be doing today. Page 575, 576, and 577. So let's get started. Open up page 575 in your math book, and you can start copying this stuff. And watch for the Easter egg, too. A lot of you are catching them now because you're watching the videos, so good job. Gives you an extra credit point. Okay, so the background paper of Mrs. Dempsey's bulletin board is divided equally into 4 stripes. What fraction of the bulletin board is green? So the important thing is it's divided equally. Those rectangles are all the same size. So we're going to use a model. The bulletin board represents one whole. It's one whole bulletin board. The whole is divided into 4 equal parts or fourths. So you can use fraction tiles to model the equal parts of the bulletin board. You can use your foldables from the beginning of the chapter to help you with this if you're having trouble. And then trace the tiles and color one part green. So look at you have the blue bar, which is one whole. And then they've asked us to trace the tiles and color one part green. So using your green drawing tool, trace around the tiles. Of course, you're doing this in your math book first, most of you, or on a piece of paper if you don't have your math book yet. So I traced over the tiles, and now I'm going to color one part green. So I'm just going to get in there with my finger and do some quick coloring. It's not art, it's math. We're just doing a fast color job. So we write 1/4 and we say, or we read 1/4 because it's 1 out of 4 equal parts. Okay, helpful hint. Sometimes 1/4 is also read 1/4. We also do that in time. If we take the clock and we divide it into 4 equal parts, one of those parts past the hour is called quarter past. The one part before the hour is called quarter till. And when we get to time, you'll hear more about that. Okay, so the part that is green is the numerator, that's 1. The total number of parts is 4, that's the denominator. So the numerator tells the number of equal parts being represented. The denominator tells the total number of equal parts. So 1 out of 4 or 1 over 4 or 1/4 of the bulletin board is green. So I'm going to write that in here, 1/4. Now we need to write the number word for, F-O-U-R. Then we add the TH. Okay, the one without the U is a different word. So the number word fourth has the number word 4 in it. And it is green. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, and you can use your typing tool to type this in Class Dojo. All right. So that's the end of that page. All right, let's go over here to the next page and do example 2. Not all fractions are unit fractions. So what fraction of the flag is red? Well, the numerator is 2 because we have 2 red parts. and 3 for the total number of equal parts. Now, a common mistake that third graders will make is they will say that 2 parts are red and 1 part is not red, but that is not how fractions work. That denominator has to be all 3 parts. So you name all the equal parts. I'm going to use black because writing in red will make it not show up. I have 1, 2, 3 equal parts. 2 of them are red. So I'm going to write 2/3 on the line. I'm going to use red because that's the color we're talking about. And so 2/3, we read 2/3. Now the number word 2 is TWO, so make sure you spell it correctly. Okay, so 2/3 or 2/3 looks kind of like 3. It's a little different. Of the flag is red. Explain why 2/3 is not a unit fraction. So I'm going to take out my typing tool and I'm going to type this one. And I'm going to use words from my question in my answer. And I'm going to move my box out of the way here because I need to see my question. So I'll slide it over here and then I'll move it back. So 2/3, 2/3. Now this is how you write it when you can't write in fraction format. 2/3 is not a unit fraction. And then it says explain why. So since we're explaining and the word why is there, we're going to say comma because. Oops, what happened? Because I hit something wrong. Okay. A unit fraction has to have 1 as the numerator because a unit fraction must have a 1 as the numerator. Okay, it's not talking about 1 part of the whole, it's talking about 2 parts of the whole. So we have a 2 as the numerator, and a unit fraction has to have a 1 as the numerator. Okay, so there you go. Okay, let's do some guided practice. Remember, this is the part where I explain it to you, and then you are going to pause and write your answer. So complete the chart, write a fraction for each part. Now notice that this chart, let's see how many rows we have here, just 2. Okay, so on this chart, we have 2 rows. The first column shows the fraction model. The second column says the part that is yellow, and look at this. Then it says the part that is not yellow in the third column. So I'm going to highlight this for not yellow. You have to be careful when you take a math test, especially when you do the state test. They're going to ask you for parts that are not. Pay close attention to that. Usually they'll write it in italics, like these letters are a little slanty, or bold letters, or they'll put them all in capitals. So pay close attention for that word not. Okay, so I'm going to switch away from yellow because it's hard to see. And I don't want you guys writing in yellow because I can't read it to grade it. And so I'm going to default to blue here, dark blue. So I'm looking at my first fraction model. So my first fraction is going to be the part that is yellow. Make sure your numerator names the parts that are yellow and that your denominator names the parts that are all the equal parts. Pause the video. Okay, so the parts that are yellow, I have 1, 2, 3 parts that are yellow, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. Now the next one, the part that is not yellow. So make sure you count the part that is not yellow, put that as the numerator, and then your denominator will be all the equal parts. Pause the video. Okay, so I have 1 part that is not yellow, it's white. And then I still have 4 equal parts. So my denominator stays the same. All right, for number 2, I want you to do both of those fractions. The first one is the part is yellow, and then the part that is not yellow. If you need to number the sections so that you can count them accurately, feel free, or just dot each one. Okay, pause the video. All right, so I need to know how many equal parts I have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts. So I know that both of these have 8 equal parts altogether. Now I'm going to count the parts that are yellow for the first column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 are yellow, and then 1, 2, 3 are not yellow. So 5/8 and 3/8. Okay, we're going to go on to the independent practice. Okay, so really quickly, because fractions make me happy, I like fractions. Let's draw a smiley face. You can pick any color you want. Draw a smiley face over here in the margin somewhere because fractions make us happy. I think fractions are so easy and they're so much fun. Maybe I'm a little weird, but anyway, so on this chart, you're going to do this just like in the guided practice. Your first column is your fraction model. Your second column is the part that is blue. The third column is the part that is not blue. You will get a point for each of the blue squares that you complete correctly. Okay, if you have any questions, go back in the video and see how to do it. Okay, then what fraction of the honeycomb has bees? So you're going to write that fraction. And what fraction of the figure is not shaded? Let's highlight that now so that we remember that it is not shaded, so we don't miss that. Okay. Then for 8 and 9 and 10, you are going to shade each figure to represent the fraction. So they've already given you the equal parts. All you have to do is color in the numerator part. And then match each fraction to its word name. So pay close attention to your numerator and your denominator, and you're just going to draw a line from the fraction to the orange dot next to the words that go with it. So there you go. That is how you do, you name parts of a whole with fractions.